Hi, I'm Robin.
And I'm Nora. And you're listening to Inside PAKETH.
In this episode, we're exploring PAKETH from the perspective of a lecturer who has spent years thinking carefully about how students learn and putting that into practice at scale.
Ghislain Fourny is a senior scientist in the Department of Computer Science at ETH. He teaches several courses, including Big Data, and coordinates the master program in data science.
He shares what PAKETH means to him and the methods he uses to support sustained learning, even in classes of 500 students.
So let's dive in. What is your view on the potential impact of PAKETH? And concretely, what does PAKETH change in the calendar?
Things have been adding up over time as ETH evolved and time elapsed, and now it was time to redesign the teaching ecosystem to adapt it to the needs of today. I think from my teacher's perspective and seeing the students, they have exam preparation periods more than holidays. They don't have that much time to relax. So I sense a lot of stress. I also have the feeling they feel guilty when they are not working. I'm trying to tell them, you need to rest during weekends. And they have this feeling of guilt when they are not working. And I think that they deserve to have some time off also to enhance their productivity. So with the extra week that we're going to talk about, having the exams closer to the semester is going to help, because then they can really do something else and take their minds off the exam preparation.
With revision times shortened, continuous engagement during the semester becomes more important. What do you already do to support that?
So I use several techniques actually already today. One technique that I use is quizzes and bonus points. We provide the students with quizzes to solve during the semester. It sounds like little, but it's extraordinarily efficient. It really pushes the students to learn, and the majority of the students in the course is actually solving the quizzes and getting the bonus points. It also leads to discussions with the TA team, because the students are going to fight for their points. So if they disagree with an answer, they send a large email to the TA team, and I love this. I tell my TAs to engage with this and to grant points, of course, to everybody for extra answers, because this is exactly what we want to achieve, this conversation and bringing the students to the point that they can argue about an answer.
Beyond the quizzes, how do you foster engagement during the lectures themselves?
Then we have the atmosphere in the course that I'm trying to foster, and together with the TA team, of course, because this is a group effort, the encouragement to actively participate in the lecture and to ask questions on the forum during the week. I have a TA who is here during every lecture and who moderates and interrupts me in real time to make sure that I don't miss any question and answer immediately. So trying to make the students actively participate rather than just passively get the knowledge and then in the last minute prepare for the exam. The problem with that is that they may pass the exam, but then they will not retain the knowledge for the long term. I also actively tell the students to not hesitate and teach each other, because teaching is the best way to learn. When you teach, you're trying to actively recall from the brain, and then you might identify a few areas that you thought you mastered, but actually you don't.
And this works at scale? What is the size of your biggest class?
The biggest class I'm teaching is Big Data, which is a master's course for computer science and data science students. And in this class, I think I had 560 students registered in the last fall semester.
Wow. And that's still the same method where you answer to questions during the course?
Yes, actually, I do not hesitate when students start asking questions and then the ice is broken and then more questions come. I tried to let it be, meaning that I'm trying to refrain from saying, okay, now we have to continue. I just let the conversation go and I readapt the material later. Sometimes we've had conversations for like an hour. The students kept asking questions, and for an hour, I just reacted to their questions. And I think it's great because this is the whole point of a lecture, is that I can react to the students' spontaneous questions.
Most of your students come to class in person, even with recordings available. What do you think draws them in?
I'm hoping that what makes the students come is the general atmosphere that I'm trying to create in the class. I want them to feel like they can ask any question they want. I tell them there is no such thing as a stupid question. We are in a university. We are here to learn.
Are there specific learning strategies you draw on beyond the classroom atmosphere?
Yes, there are a few technologies that I borrowed from Duolingo. For example, this notion of spaced repetition. It's the idea that we retain knowledge a bit more easily when we are exposed to it at different points in time, at first closer and then further and further. And so there's different ways that we can use spaced repetition in the lecture. One of them is that we try to offset the exercises from the lecture. So the exercises come 1 week later after the lecture.
Are there other strategies beyond spaced repetition?
Another way is that I'm trying in every lecture to refer back to the lectures that came before to have a bit of a recap, like, in TV shows like previously in Big Data, kind of recaps. Another methodology that I have that maybe has to do with the way my brain works is to slice knowledge into pieces. I like to identify every core part of the structure of the material and to try to teach all of these little pieces separately and to show how they add up, as opposed to just a vague understanding of the general puzzle. In order for the transfer to take place, they need to understand by heart. Neuropsychologists also call this generalization, that they are able to generalize the knowledge to not just the examples that we looked at, but also different examples. And so I'm trying to design my courses in such a way that the students understand by heart. Just not looking at the material very close, but they understand the whole picture, how it fits with the other courses. I look at the other courses to make sure that it overlaps al dente, that the bit of overlap to connect, but not too much overlap that wouldn't be necessary.
And do you also think about students who learn differently?
I try to make material available in different kinds of supports. There's the video recordings, the audio. There's written documents. For example, I wrote by student demand a textbook for big data that is now 500 pages, which gives another support for the students who prefer to read the material or as a complement to attending the course.
That last part really stayed with me.
You mean the 500 pages of textbook? I know, I'm really impressed too. It actually made me want to take his class. But let's return to our main topic, which is PAKETH. If you'd like to explore more about how PAKETH is shaping teaching across ETH, beyond this podcast, you'll find additional resources linked right below the audio player on our website.
As every department takes on this reform, we'll keep sharing experiences from across ETH. If you'd like support for your own process, get in touch at paketh_utl@ethz.ch.
Thanks for listening, and join us next time on Inside PAKETH.